Britain may be known for its royal traditions, historic landmarks, and stiff upper lip, but behind the curtains, scandals have always shaken the nation. From political cover-ups to shocking celebrity affairs, the United Kingdom has seen its fair share of controversies that made headlines around the world. In this video, we're counting down 10 of the most infamous sex scandals in England, stories that rocked reputations, toppled careers, and left the public stunned. Story 1. Profumo Affair, 1963. Politics, spies, and downfall of a government. The Profumo Affair remains one of the most famous political sex scandals in England. John Profumo, Secretary of State for War, had an affair with Christine Keeler, a 19-year-old model. At the same time, Keeler was romantically linked to a Soviet naval attaché, raising national security fears during the Cold War. Profumo denied the affair in Parliament, but when the truth came out, he resigned. The scandal discredited Prime Minister Harold Macmillan's government, exposed the hypocrisy of Britain's elite, and symbolized a changing society where old moral codes collided with modern openness about sex. It's often remembered as the scandal that helped topple the Conservative government. Story 2. Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker Bowles, the Tampon Gate tapes, 1990s. During the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, secretly recorded phone calls between Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles leaked to the press in 1993. One recording included Charles joking that he wanted to be Camilla's tampon, leading tabloids to dub the incident Tampon Gate. The scandal humiliated the future king, deepened Diana's sense of betrayal, and exposed the cracks in the royal marriage. Combined with Diana's own revelations of her affairs, the scandal turned the royal family into a global soap opera and reshaped public attitudes to monarchy, marriage, and media intrusion. Story 3. The Jeffrey Archer Scandal, 1999 to 2001. Jeffrey Archer, best-selling novelist and conservative politician, was accused of paying for sex with Monica Coughlin, a sex worker, in the 1980s. Archer sued a newspaper for libel and won, but in the late 1990s, evidence emerged that he had lied in court. In 2001, he was convicted of perjury and perverting the course of justice, sentenced to prison, and forced to resign from public life. What began as a sex scandal became one of Britain's most dramatic legal and political downfalls, illustrating how cover-ups can be more damaging than the original act. Story 4. David Miller, Minister for Fun and an Actress, 1992. David Miller, a rising conservative minister in John Major's government, was dubbed the Minister for Fun due to his role in culture and media. In 1992, tabloids revealed his affair with actress Antonia de Sancha. The press ran lurid details, including alleged claims of Miller's sexual preferences and embarrassing phone calls. Although Miller initially tried to stay in office, the relentless press campaign forced his resignation. The case highlighted the viciousness of Britain's tabloid culture and the risks of hypocrisy for politicians preaching traditional family values. Story 5. John Major's Back to Basics campaign and Tory sex scandals, 1990s. Prime Minister John Major launched a Back to Basics campaign in 1993, urging traditional values and family morality. Ironically, during the years that followed, at least a dozen conservative MPs were exposed in sex scandals, affairs, sex workers, and extramarital liaisons. The most famous was the revelation, years later, that John Major himself had conducted a 4-year affair with fellow MP Edwina Curry. These scandals destroyed the credibility of Back to Basics, fed a media frenzy, and created the stereotype of the sleazy Tories that haunted the party for a decade. To Story 6. Lord Boothby, the Cray Twins, and Rumors of Male Orgies, 1960s. In the 1960s, Lord Boothby, a conservative peer, was rumored to have had sexual relationships with men provided by the notorious Cray Twins, London's gangster kings. Although the details were partly suppressed by friendly newspapers, journalists and insiders whispered about parties involving young men, politicians, and criminals. Decades later, documents suggested MI5 had monitored some of these activities. The scandal symbolized how England's establishment protected its own and how homosexuality, then still partly criminalized, was weaponized in political gossip. Story 7. Jeremy Thorpe Affair, 1970s to 2010s. Jeremy Thorpe, leader of the Liberal Party, was accused of having a homosexual relationship with Norman Scott in the 1960s, when such acts were still stigmatized. Later, Thorpe was accused of conspiring to have Scott killed to prevent exposure. In 1979, Thorpe and others stood trial for conspiracy to murder, but were acquitted. The trial, however, destroyed his political career. Decades later, the scandal was revisited in books and the acclaimed BBC drama, A Very English Scandal. It remains one of the most sensational intersections of sex, politics, and alleged crime in modern British history. Now, Story 8. Lord Lambton and prostitutes photographed in bed, 1973. Lord Lambton, Conservative Defense Minister, was photographed in bed with 2 prostitutes, one smoking cannabis. The scandal broke in 1973, forcing him to resign. Newspapers published the images, shocking the public with the brazenness of elite double lives. Lambton later admitted to using sex workers as an escape from political stress. The case became part of the wider culture of 1970s permissiveness colliding with public morality. Story 9. Footballers, super injunctions, and tabloid sex scandals, 2000s to 2010s. In the 2000s to 2010s, English footballers became central to a string of sex scandals. Some, like Ryan Giggs, attempted to block press coverage through super injunctions, legal orders preventing newspapers from publishing stories about affairs. Giggs's affair with his brother's wife became headline news once the injunction collapsed. Other footballers, from Wayne Rooney's visits to sex workers to John Terry's alleged affair with a teammate's partner, kept the tabloids buzzing. These scandals combined sports, celebrity, money, and betrayal, reflecting both tabloid appetite and the pressures of stardom. Story 10. Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein, 2019 to 2022. Prince Andrew, Duke of York, faced global scandal over his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In 2019, Virginia Giuffre filed a lawsuit alleging that Epstein had trafficked her to Andrew for sex when she was underage. Andrew denied the allegations, but a disastrous BBC Newsnight interview in 2019 deepened public anger. In 2022, Andrew settled the lawsuit out of court for a reported multi-million-pound sum without admitting liability. The scandal led to his withdrawal from public duties and permanent damage to his reputation, one of the most severe crises for the British monarchy in modern times. These 10 scandals, spanning from the Profumo affair in the 1960s to Prince Andrew's downfall in the 2020s, show how, in England, sex scandals intertwine with politics, royalty, sport, and celebrity. They reveal recurring themes: hypocrisy, media intrusion, the clash of private desire with public duty, and the power of scandal to reshape institutions.